New START is a nuclear arms reduction treaty between the United States and the Russian Federation, with the formal name of Measures for the Further Reduction and Limitation of Strategic Offensive Arms. It was signed on 8 April 2010 in Prague, and, after ratification, entered into force on 5 February 2011. It is expected to last until 5 February 2026, having been extended in 2021. New START replaced the Treaty of Moscow, which was to expire in December 2012. It follows the START-I Treaty, which expired in December 2009, the proposed START-II Treaty, which never entered into force, and the START-III Treaty, for which negotiations were never concluded. The treaty calls for halving the number of strategic nuclear missile launchers. A new inspection and verification regime will be established, replacing the SOT mechanism. It does not limit the number of operationally inactive nuclear warheads that can be stockpiled, a number in the high thousands. The treaty limits the number of deployed strategic nuclear warheads to 1,550, which is down nearly two-thirds from the original START treaty, as well as 10% lower than the deployed strategic warhead limit of the 2002 Moscow Treaty. The total number of deployed warheads, however, could exceed the 1,550 limit by a few hundred because only one warhead is counted per bomber, regardless of how many it actually carries. The treaty also limits the number of deployed and non-deployed intercontinental ballistic missile launchers, submarine-launched ballistic missile launchers, and heavy bombers equipped for nuclear armaments to 800. The number of deployed ICBMs, SLBMs, and heavy bombers equipped for nuclear armaments is limited to 700. The treaty allows for satellite and remote monitoring, as well as 18 on-site inspections per year to verify limits. These obligations must be met within 7 years from the date the treaty enters into force. The treaty will last 10 years, with an option to renew it for up to 5 years upon agreement of both parties. The treaty entered into force on 5 February 2011, when the United States and Russia exchanged instruments of ratification, following approval by the U.S. Senate and the Federal Assembly of Russia. However, the United States began implementing the reductions even before the treaty was ratified. Documents made available to the U.S. Senate described removal from service of at least 30 missile silos, 34 bombers and 56 submarine launch tubes, though missiles removed would not be destroyed and bombers could be converted to conventional use. While 4 of 24 launchers on each of the 14 ballistic missile nuclear submarines would be removed, none would be retired. The treaty places no limits on tactical systems, such as the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, which will most likely be replacing the F-15E and F-16 in the tactical nuclear delivery role. The treaty does not cover rail mobile ICBM launchers because neither party currently possesses such systems. ICBMs on such launchers would be covered under the generic launcher limits, but the inspection details for such systems would have to be worked out between the parties if such systems were reintroduced in the future. The new START treaty is the successor to the START-I. The START-II was signed, but not ratified. The START-III negotiating process was not successful. The drafting of the treaty commenced in April 2009 immediately after the meeting between the presidents of the two countries, Barack Obama and Dmitry Medvedev, in London. Preliminary talks were already held in Rome on 27 April, although it was originally planned to have them held in the middle of May. Prolonged talks were conducted by U.S. and Russian delegations, led on the American side by U.S. State Department Assistant Secretary Rose Guatemala. The Russian delegation was headed by Anatoly Antonov, Director of Security and Disarmament at the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Talks were held on the morning of 6 July 2009. The agreement on the text of the Joint Understanding on Further Reduction and Limitation of Strategic Offensive Arms was announced, which was signed by Medvedev and Obama during the U.S. presidential visit to Moscow the same day. The document listed the intention of both parties to reduce the number of nuclear warheads to 1,500 to 1,675 units, as well as their delivery weapons to 500-1,100 units. Presidents Obama and Medvedev announced on the 26th of March 2010 that they had reached an agreement, and they signed the treaty on the 8th of April 2010 in Prague. On the 13th of May, the agreement was submitted by President Obama for ratification in the U.S. Senate. Ratification required 67 votes in favor. On Tuesday, the 16th of September 2010, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee voted 14-4 in favor of ratifying New START. The measure had support from 3 Senate Republicans: Richard Lugar of Indiana, Bob Corker of Tennessee, and Johnny Isakson of Georgia. Senator John Kerry and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton expressed optimism that